welcome back to another episode of Warhammer 40,000. This is the third game today. We're back on this board. We like it so much. It's the weird Crypt City with the lovely bit of terrain here. Nice sculpture in the middle, paved street, leaves blowing across the pavement, the old tomb on the outskirts, the dead marshes. Nice bit of terrain. This time it is the Necrons. They're here again. This time facing off against Eldar. And we've played them before, and we had to end the game. It's an unresolved situation between these two forces. There's a rivalry between them. So James and Ben will be on Necrons, and then it'll be myself and Rob who will be playing Eldar. So it's 2 on 2. It's 1850 points. It's nice terrain. Looking forward to this game. Two good quality armies facing up. Right, welcome to 1850 points game. It's Necrons against Eldar. So here's the Necrons here. James and Ben will be taking control of the Necrons today. Heavy support is 2 monoliths, 1 and 2. And then the Ghost Ark. Inside that will be the army commander. It's the Necron Overlord with 2+ save, 3+ invuln save, phylactery as well, Phaeron and a resurrection orb. And he's been accompanied by 9 Necron warriors. Air support, 2 Knight Scythes, each of those with 6 Necron warriors. Catacomb command barge, and inside there is an Overlord with a War Scythe. And then the Necron Wraiths are back in action. And finally, heavy support is Necron Tomb Spiders, 3 of them, no upgrades, and then 2 units of 3 Necron Scarab Swarms. So that's the Necron army. We've seen it before. How will they perform against the Eldar? Looking forward to this clash. Right, welcome to 1850 points. Eldar versus Necrons. It's a grudge match. It's James and Ben as Necrons, and then myself and Rob as Eldar. It's a familiar Eldar force. 2 troop choices here, 2 units of 3 jet bikes, and then the unit of Harlequins, 4 Harlequins kisses, and there is a Spirit Seer in there, and a Troop Master, power weapon, and then a unit of Warp Spiders with the Exarch, fast shot, power blades, upgrades, and then inside the Eldar Wave Serpent here, a unit of 6 Fire Dragons with Fire Pike and Exarch and fast shot upgrades, and then 10 Striking Scorpions flanking in a Wave Serpent with the Exarch. The famous Exarch is in the force. Army Commander is the Eldar Avatar, and heavy supports 2 Wraith Lords with Bright Lances and Flamers and Ghost Glaives. And then finally the Wraith Knight armed with Sun Cannon, Scatter Shield and Scatter Laser. There are the forces, 2 classic forces on this channel. We'll be squaring off on a nice bit of terrain. It's Necron homeworld. So I'm going to move on to the first turn of the game. Right, the scenario is Purge the aliens, so it's kill points. You get points for killing units and vehicles, and the deployment is hammer and anvil. So we're playing end to end. In this 24-inch zone, the Eldar will be deploying, and then coming across, starting off in the Crypt City, will be the Necrons. So it fits very well with the scenario. It's 24 inches in. We'll be playing end to end. So reserves for both sides will be arriving from each edge, so you can expect a clash perhaps in the middle. So we're going to move on to deployment now for both of the armies. Necrons will be deploying first and going first, unless the Eldar can seize the initiative. Right, deployment for the Necrons. Both monoliths have been deployed. Go very well in the city. And just one on the right hand side here, and then just one tucked in on the building on the left. It's almost a custom designed size for it. Ghost Ark just at the back, well protected. And then that's got the warriors inside. Unit of Scarabs here, unit of Scarabs here, and then the tomb spiders just behind the barricades. And coming round for the Eldar, the Wraith Knights right at the front, flanked by on either side by 2 Wraith Lords. The Avatar's just in the middle, and the unit of Harlequins just on the left, and then behind them is a Wave Serpent with the Fire Dragons in support. So the Scorpions will be flanking, they'll be coming on one of the flanks. Fire Dragons are in the transport vehicle. Warp Spiders will be deep striking, and then the 2 units of jet bikes will be coming on from reserve. Then for the Necrons, the 2 Night Scythes coming on from reserve. Wraiths as well coming on from reserve. The Warriors and the Overlord are in the Ghost Ark, and then the Command Barge is coming on from reserve as well. It's going to move on now to the first turn of the game. We'll see if the Eldar can steal the initiative. Right, Necron turn 1. The plan, it looks like, for the Necrons is to sit back and watch to see what the Eldar do. The Ghost Ark's just here at the back. Monolith's just sitting nicely in his behind the walls there. Bred some more Scarabs just behind the Monolith here. So it's all playing it safe at the moment for the Necrons as they go to see what the Eldar are doing. So there's no shooting for the Necrons, all out of range, no combats. So that is the end of Necron turn 1. There's no night fighting, so we're going to move on now to Eldar turn 1. Right, Eldar turn 1. We've done movement and run moves as well. The Eldar just bounding forwards, moving forwards as fast as they can. The Wraith Knight has entered the city now and looming down on the Monolith. So he's gone in 12. Wraith Lords following up, and the Avatar as well, followed behind by the Wave Serpent with the Fire Dragons. And then the Harlequins have moved up and ran 9 inches up behind the barricades. The Eldar moving forwards, they're at the Crypt City now, moving in. And there's only a small amount of space between the Eldar and the Necrons. Quite a ornate looking city, nice paved street, leaves blowing silently. But the noise will erupt as we move into turn 2, as the reserves start to arrive. Look out for Necron firepower and air power coming in. So Necron turn 2 coming. Turn 2. The city looks nice, but it's not a pretty sight for the Eldar. Necron flyers swarming on the table, closing in, and it could be a trap, perhaps. So one Night Scythe on the right hand side flying in, another one flying up the middle of the table. More Scarabs being bred on the left hand side, so 6 behind there now. The Wraiths have turned up, and then the Monolith has fallen back. So Necrons just readjusting themselves, and the first firepower is going to be coming in. It's going to move on to shooting for the Necrons now on turn 2. Right, turn 2 for the Necrons, the flyers moving in. Monolith firing down, caused a whole load of wounds. But we got covered with a Veil of Tears, increased it to 3+, and Rob passed all 7 of his dice rolls. So well done there. The flyer firing in though has killed 2 of the Harlequins. So first casualties there on the Eldar, and coming around the flyer, Night Scythe caused 1 wound on the Wraith Knight. Could have been worse, but that's the end of turn 2. There's no charges, no assaults for the Necrons. So we're going to move on now to Eldar turn 2. Right, moving for the Eldar on turn 2. The 2 units of jet bikes have arrived. They're just hiding around at the back, just trying to keep them alive. In this scenario, we don't want to let you lose units. Now the flyers present a problem for the Eldar, facing off against the Necrons. So we brought the Wave Serpent transport around, and we're going to try and see if we can cause some damage on that flyer. Coming around, the Wraith Knight has jumped out from behind cover and has now jumped into the middle of the street. He's got a clear view up at the Wraiths and the Necrons. That Sun Cannon should be able to do some damage. Wraith Lord as well joining him, and then the Avatar moving up with the other Wraith Lord as well. Just trying to get the Harlequins away from trouble, moving over in this direction. So that's the movement for the Eldar on turn 2. Just going to move on to shooting. Right, Eldar shooting on turn 2. Effective firepower from the Wave Serpent. It's a handy unit to have as a anti-aircraft vehicle. Aiming up, got the hit with a twin-link scatter laser, and with those hits we then fired twin-link shuriken cannon and twin-linked serpent shield, and that caused a penetrating hit, weapon destroyed, and then another glancing hit as well. With supporting fire also coming in from the warp spiders. So that's worked out well. That flyer has lost its main gun and is down to, well, it's lost 2 hull points. So that's good going. Not quite killed though, so don't get a point for it yet. And then coming around the other side, the Wraith Knight has fired down with the Sun Cannon and has killed 2 of the Wraiths, which is a pretty good result as well. So early exchanges of firepower, that won't decide the game. The game's got to push on, and really we think it will be combat that will separate the 2 sides. So we're going to move on now to Necron Turn 3. Necron Turn 3 movement. Scarabs have bred again, so the unit has increased to size of 9. It's just holding back with the other stuff. It's cautious from the Necrons with some units. These Scarabs are slinking around the side. The other monoliths on the move as well. I think he's got a view to the warp spiders. And then coming through the gap here, the Wraiths, the last of them. 4 of them are closing in on the Wraith Knight. Will they make it into combat? Because that Wraith Knight could be in some trouble. The Wraiths are a bane to every army they encounter. Flyers moved up and over the top, bearing down on the transport. The other flyers flown off the tail. He's left combat airspace just to keep him alive. So there's going to be a showdown in the middle of this Crypt City. Right, Necron shooting on turn 3. The monolith has fired down and killed 2 of the warp spider. Those warp spiders, they passed morale, but they've got caught out there. The command barges moved up and turned around, and then firing through the monolith has caused a wound on the Wraith Lord. The flyer failed to do any damage to the Wave Serpent, and so it's just down to combats now. We want to know if these Wraiths will reach the Wraith Knight. So 7 inches. No, 7 inches we think will do it. We'll measure it up exactly. Going to roll to see what it gets. He has to take away the highest dice. No. Are they fleet? They're not fleet, so they do not make it into combat. So that's a bad result for the Necrons, who's looking to get into combat there. So that's a crucial point in the game. Necron forces are spread about a bit. Most of the Eldar combat power is concentrated just in to the left-hand side in the Crypt City there. So we'll see what happens now. There's no assaults, so we're going to move on to Eldar Turn 3. Right, Eldar movement on turn 3. It's another display of slick movement, which marks the Eldar out as a fast race. The striking Scorpions have arrived. They're staying in their transport, just moving on, taking advantage of the rear armour on the Catacomb command bar. Then the jet bikes have moved across, coming down 12 and then 12 of these guys. And then to try and catch the flyer, the Wave Serpents moved around. The Fire Dragons are disembarked, looking up to see if they can get some snapshot hits at the second flyer. The Harlequins have moved in towards the ruin, just trying to seek cover. Not sure where to go on this one. Got to keep units alive that are vulnerable. Then the Wraith Lord has burst out from cover, moving up towards the Wraiths. The Avatar as well has moved out, and the second Wraith Lord as well, closing in on the Necron race. If they can be eliminated, then that is a lot of combat power taken away from James and Ben's Necrons. And then the Wraith Knight jumped up and over the top of the Wraiths and has landed right in front of the Necron Scarabs. And finally a warp jump generator move of 11 inches has taken the warp spiders towards the Scarab swarms. So a lot of jumping about and fast movement from the Eldar. Going to move on to shooting for the Eldar now on turn 3. Right, Eldar shooting phase on turn 3. The jet bikes have moved up. Both units come around behind here. Then firing up with the Wave Serpent, and with the Fire Dragons not quite so good. Just one hull point on there. It was a penetration, but he's rolled on living metal and has negated that result. The Harlequins have moved up and run a few more inches up inside the cover there. Then the Wraith Lords firing forwards with the Avatar have killed one and dealt out a wound on the Wraiths. Just the other shooting, the Wraith Knight firing down, got a load of wounds, but Ben has rolled a whole load of 6s, so those are saved with the cover. Firing through area terrain, he still gets the cover. And then the Wave Serpent, disappointing firepower. He kept the shield up, just trying to protect herself, and has only caused one glancing hit on the Catacomb command barge. So disappointing firepower from the Eldar, but we'll see if some of the key units can make it into combat. That will have a big influence on the game. So we'll see if the Warp Spiders can make it into contact with the Scarab Swarms. It's 3 dice through cover. Got to take away the best. So their fleet, we're going to re-roll this 1. And the 5, that brings them into combat. So the Warp Spiders have made it into combat. Next time I'm going to see if this Wraith Knight makes it into combat with these Scarabs. It's going through cover. A 5. 5 will do it. So he has made it into combat as well. There's trouble. And then we're going to see if we can reach the Cantopec Wraiths as well. So the Wraith Lord on the left has made it into combat along with the Avatar. This one failed to get in, but 2 of the units have gone, which is good news. And then here, the Wraith Knight has made it into combat with the Scarab Swarm. There's a lot of stamping is going to go on to try and eliminate them. So there's potential points here for the Eldar. Combat here with the Wraiths fighting against the Avatar and the Wraith Lord. So 2 Wraiths are going after the Avatar. They're on 3 attacks each. 5. It's 5 to hit, weapon skill 10. And then he wants 6s to rend, 4s to wounds. He's got 2 wounds, 2 saves. He'll need. 2 5s, that's good going. And then the last Wraith gets a hit, and then he gets a nothing. So there's nothing dealt out. So the Eldar are going to strike. Forced to hit with the Wraith Lord. Yeah, and you can re-roll this one. 4 more, lovely. Strength 9, toughness 4, so you're on 2s to wound. It's good. 3 saves of 3+. It's strength. No, 4. 4 saves at 3+. Ouch, that has cost. 2 wraiths. It's nasty going. Then the avatar should be able to finish the other one off. So you get 1 Hammer of Wrath attack, 1 dice, automatic hit. That's a wound, 1 save. Fine. And then 6 attacks on the charge with all those dice. Yep, 6 attacks. Now you're wanting 2s to wound. 3 saves of 3+. Or the wraiths are gone. The wraiths are gone. So you've dealt out the wounds there. It's fearless, so that 1 wraith will continue and will consolidate the Wraith Lord in. And the Wraith Knight wins the combat, but he kills 3 bases, but the Scarabs are fearless, so they will continue in the combat. So it's good results for the Eldar. Still looking for that first kill, but the Eldar punch ahead, and we'll see how the Necrons react to them on turn 4. And then the last melee here, it's a draw. The Scarab's got 1 kill, and then the Warp Spider's got 1 as well. So that melee will continue, and that marks the end of the melees. So it's hard to call this one. Going to move on to Necron turn 4. Could be a critical turn of the game. Right, Necron movement on turn 4. The damaged flyer is back on. It's flown and has dropped off his warriors just here. Monolith's moved around to the right hand side, just looking to close in using that template weapon. And then the Overlord has spun around and he's facing off against the Wave Serpent. The melee continues down just on the steps of the entrance to the Crypt City. And then just here, just continue breeding. And pretty much what the Wraith Knight kills, the spiders are replacing with fresh Scarab bases. A bit of a bad move, sending the Wraith Knight in. The Monolith just backed off here, and so has the Command Barge. We're really struggling to get kill points at the moment, but they should be able to get 1 here with the death of the last Wraith. The other flyer screaming in, trying to get an easy kill point on the jet bikes. So we're going to go on now to Necron shooting on turn 4. It's not been carnage, it's been a struggle to get kill points, but we'll see what happens on this next shooting phase. So he's just got 4 hits, 2 of which were 6s, so they've got 8 hits in total with this one firing down. There's 2s to wound, could have trouble with the jet bikes. He's just rolled a heap of 1s. 3 saves to make of 3+. It's good, he's passed them all, so the jet bikes survive. Right, shooting from the Necrons, the Monolith firing through has managed to cause another wound on the Wraith Lord, so that one's down just to 1 wound left. Firing down here was ineffective, the jet bikes are still alive. And then coming around the other side, the Necron warriors were able to fire and cause a glancing hit on the Wave Serpent. So we've run out of skull tokens, that's what that question mark is on the back, it's just representing 1 hull point. So we're going to move on to assaults now. There is a combat here, the Chariot wants to charge in, and we've got combats here and with the Wraith to conclude. Right, combat results for the Necrons has gone pretty well. Command Barge has flown in and racked up enough hull points to destroy the Wave Serpent, so he's gone, and the Scorpions have got out in the woods. They blend in really well, quite hard to see, but they're there. They'll not be able to assault on the next turn. And then 1 kill on the Warp Spiders, and then the Exarch killed back, so that's a drawn melee. It continues. No damage at all from the Wraith Knight on those. He is stuck in that melee. It's not good going. Needed him to be free to destroy targets. So it's low kill points at the moment. The last Wraith has been killed though, so that's a point to the Eldar. So gradually both sides clocking up the points, but not much. Going to move on now to Eldar turn 4 coming up. Alright, Eldar moving on turn 4. The Scorpions moving out through the woods, gradually closing in the gap. They're looking for a target. Melee continues down there. Wraith Knight is stuck in combat. Wraith Lord has moved through the terrain and is headed towards the monolith. Second Wraith Lord is just heading off to join the combat, trying to free up the Wraith Knight, and the Avatar's moved down as well. Harlequins, they're really out the game. I'm going to try and just keep them alive. Some units are just going to have to survive. And then spinning around here with the Wave Serpent and the Fire Dragon is going to try and bring down this flyer. The Jet Bike's trying to keep out of range, moving off this direction here. So that's movement for the Eldar. Just a bit of tactical manoeuvring to try and preserve some units and then get others into position to score kill points. So I'm going to move on now to shooting for Eldar on turn 4. Right, Eldar shooting on turn 4. The Scorpions are out of range, but they did battle focus, came out of the woods, fired their pistols down and got 2 6s to wound. That's AP2, so that took off 2 wounds from the spider. He was already on a wound, so that spider's gone. Then coming around, no damage from the Wraith Lord, firing at the monolith. These guys can't fire because they're going to be charging the Scarab bases. And then up here, the Wave Serpent firing up, as well as the Fire Dragons caused enough damage to destroy the flyer. He then crashed and burned off the table. And the 6 warriors on board will now go into reserve. So not destroy, they just go back into reserve. So it's a flyer down. That pushes the Eldar ahead in the points. We're going to move on to assaults now on Eldar turn 4. Right, charges on Eldar turn 4. The Wraith Lord has charged into combat with the monolith, and then the Avatar around here and the other Wraith Lord charging into the Scarab. So hopefully we'll clear a pathway through, and the Eldar heavy units can smash through the range of the Necron force. It's going to move on now to the assaults. We'll get these results sorted. Right, combat results for Eldar on turn 4. Wraith Lord caused 2 glancing hits on the monolith. It's a tough one to try and break open. There's no rear armor on it as such. It's 14 all the way around. And then the Wraith Knight, Wraith Lord and Avatar have whittled the Scarabs down to just 1 base left. Horrendous casualties. It's going to stick there in combat. But that's it. The Warp Spider was killed by the last of the Scarabs. So Necron's still cranking up some points here. And on their turn 5, they stand a chance of surging ahead. We'll see how they do. Let's move on now to Necron turn 5. Right, movement for the Necrons on turn 5. Could be the last turn of the game. Flyers moving off in this direction. Be able to get some shots off at the jet bikes. Warriors just moving up. Monolith has moved around to the right hand side, just looking to get a shot off at the Fire Dragon. As it's far from over, Necrons can still pull this one out of the bag. Warriors have come on from reserve. These are the ones that survived from the flyer. They're moving off to try and take on the Scorpions, and then the Overlord as well. So Scorpions are being picked on here, and then coming up, the 2 spiders moving up Scarabs moving across. That melee continues. This monolith's backed off. The Ghost Ark has slinked around, disembarked, and then the Overlord, who owns this city, has got out and is going to try and take on the Wraith Lord. So aggressive manoeuvring from the Necrons. Just when you think they're down, they come back again. So we'll see what the Necrons can do on their shooting. Turn 5. Right, Necron shooting on turn 5. Some deadly firepower coming in. The monolith fired down and has caught the dragons out in the open. So that's 5 kills from the particle whip there. Do like monoliths in the game. They're a pain to get rid of, and they can dish out some nasty firepower. So it's good firepower there. Coming across. No damage on the Wraith Lord here, but he'll be charged in combat. Then coming across, fire, rapid fire from here, fire from the squad over there, and fire from here has whittled the Scorpions down. So that is the end of shooting on Necron turn 5. We're going to roll combats now. There's a couple of charges to do. The Chariot's going to go in, and then we'll see what results we can get. Alright, charges for Necrons. The Warriors and the Overlord have got in. Just looking for a kill there. It'll be a good result if you can. The Spiders have gone in. The Scarabs have charged just the Avatar, and then the melee continues just with the last base. Then coming around, the Chariot's charged into the Scorpions. So there's potential here for the Necrons to get some good points. So we'll see what happens on this critical combat phase. One warrior was lost from Snapfire as he went in. Right, combat results on turn 5 for the Necrons. Good result. The warrior has slain the Wraith Lord, dealt out 3 wounds. Excellent roll. Very well done. Got 2 5s and 6. So brought it down. Another point to the Necrons. Then coming around, the Wraith Knight caused 1 wound on the Spiders, and then no damage in return. So that melee continues. Both units fearless. And then the Wraith Lord killed the last base. Has knocked up a point for the Eldar. And then the Avatar killed 2 bases of Scarabs. But it's fearless, so that melee continues locked in combat. And just coming down here, the Overlord killed 1 striking Scorpion, passed morale, and that melee continues. So a lot of melees continuing there as we move on now to Eldar turn 5. Could be the last turn of the game. So Eldar turn 5, the Wave Serpent has just moved up onto the hillside, looking to get a shot off at the damaged flyer. There's a potential kill point there. We've just moved the jet bikes around, just backing off. The monolith is a threat to them, so just trying to keep them moving to grant them the cover save. And then the Fire Dragon Exarch's just hiding behind the crypt here to hide from that monolith, which seems to be dominating the centre of the table. Harlequin's just hiding. It's empty here in the middle part of the table. And then just coming around, the Wraith Lord is going to try and finish off the monolith here. And then these melees continue. Breaking away from the Chariot, the Scorpions moving down on the hunt for Necron Warriors. They could get the crucial point that the Eldar need. So, we'll go on to shooting phase now for the shooting for the Eldar. Crucial point here. The Wave Serpent fired up with the Serpent Shield and has brought down the flyers. 1 penetrating hit, 1 glancing hit. No cover save allowed, so that has destroyed the flyer. Good result for the Eldar there. Neither shooting really. The Bright Lance didn't do any damage on the monolith, and the pistol shot killed 1 Necron Warrior. So we're going to go into assaults now for the Eldar. Looks like the Eldar have the edge here on turn 5. Right, assaults. 1 Scorpion was lost as they charged in. The Warriors let off a volley, but the Scorpions have made it into combat. Fancy our chances there. And then the Wraith Lord has made it into combat with the monolith. So we'll just get these results done on Eldar turn 5. So combat results there. The Wraith Lord caused enough glancing hits to destroy the monoliths. The monolith's gone. It's a good result there. Then coming around, the Avatar killed the last of the Scarab swarms, so they're gone. Another point knocked up. Another Tomb Spider was killed and a wound put on there by the Wraith Knight, no damage in return. And down here, Scorpions lost 3 Scorpions, but the Exarch managed to kill 2. So, pass them around, the melee continues.